that this is something that could potentially happen.
You think there's
the
a next
vaccine
step?
passport
Is there a
just
next
6
step?
months ago was conspiracy.
Is this going to bring about a whole bunch of class consciousness, or a whole bunch of good people going to be like, wait, I understand it now. It's almost like we have this economic system, see? And that in this economic system, the only way to truly generate a lot of profit is by exploiting workers. So people who have done that and exploited the most workers generate the most profit. And then we have these things called the state, and the state has power to enforce the will of the state upon the people that are in there. And yet those who have the most capital have the most power because they can influence the state through the form of lobbying and other political incentives and other forms as well. And it's almost as if we need, like, is that click going to happen at some point?
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Our communities, it's all over the place on YouTube, but because of this current pandemic, they feel like there's this heightened sense of responsibility that they have to control the narrative. And that's very disturbing to me. And what's even more disturbing to me is how people, when they agree with that narrative, don't understand where this all goes, and they're agreeing with that censorship. They're like, yes, censor those people, get rid of those voices, deplatform people that I disagree with. And they don't understand where this goes. It's like where people are saying, the people that have been vaccinated, that want a vaccine passport. Yes, we should have a vaccine passport. I've been vaccinated. That's not going to, it's only going to help me.
Yeah.
I did my part. I took one for the team, and I went out and got vaccinated to be a good citizen. Those people who didn't, fuck them. We should have a vaccine passport.
Makes zero sense.
But here's the problem with it. The vaccine passport, it doesn't end there. It's going to keep going, and it's going to lead to some sort of a social system. You're going to have a social credit system similar to what they have in China.
You think it'll happen in our lifetime?
100%.
You're saying
r/conspiracy. There it is. You know, the exact same thing. It's a slippery slope. It starts with vaccine passports, and soon before you know it, they're controlling everything we see, think, say, eat, or poo.
100% it can happen.
Are
in our
you
lifetime.
okay with that?
No.
Okay, so then
100% can happen in our lifetime because people will step with it. They will go as long as it benefits them and as long as it aligns with their ideology. They will ignore the dangers of a social credit system and they will embrace it.
Yeah.
If I would never thought people would be. Look, 6 months ago, the White House was saying there's no way we would ever use some sort of a vaccine mandate. There's no
but
way.
Kamala said I would never take the vaccine that Trump's coming.
So did Biden.
Yeah, both.
Like, you understand the difference in what they're saying there. They're not mandating you take the vaccine. They're just setting up a system of security for people who don't want to be infected with people who don't want to take the vaccine. Because, again, I'm sure you've seen the numbers. The people dying from COVID, 99.5% of them, 99.5 are unvaccinated. 99.5. Like that should be enough to just kind of shake everyone out of this whole, like, oh, I'm just asking questions, bro. Just asking questions. Come on.
Both of them said that, yeah.
Yeah, they both did.
Yeah.
But then once they got into office, 6 months ago, they said we would never use a mandate. We would never try to force businesses or people to be vaccinated. Now they are saying that. Now they want you to do that. Did you see that video where they're talking about Biden talking about the hurricane?
No.
Have you ever seen this?
No.
Have you seen that, Jamie? Here, I'll say where the kids
It's 100% a choice. That's what it is. You have a choice. You can go get the vaccine. You can get the vaccine passport, whatever they've set up, and then you can go to do other things, or you can choose not to do it. But by choosing not to do it, people can refuse service to you because they don't want to get sick. They don't want to expose themselves or perhaps their elders to potential COVID infections.
Here, I'll send you this one because this is the funniest one. Because these guys were watching them say this, and as these guys are watching them say this, it's just funny. Here, I'm gonna send you this. Hold on, give me 1 second. It's
hurricane.
Yeah,
Biden.
he's telling them they should get vaccinated before the hurricane comes.
It's obviously a joke, right?
No, it's not a joke. He's being dead serious. But you got to watch this. I just sent it to you, Jamie. Let's watch it. We'll watch it on the screen. We'll have a nice laugh because it's not that you shouldn't get vaccinated. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like the narrative is so overwhelming that it applies to everything now. It applies to the fucking hurricane. Play this.
There's an entire ecosystem, by the way, and this is basically Russell Brand's channel. Like, I've been watching a lot of Russell Brand's channel now because I was trying to see, I want to find out what exactly makes him tick, you know? And a lot of it is just fear and fear-mongering and hysteria over the possibility of complete and total government control that is going to come in collusion with the big pharmaceutical industries and, of course, the deep state in a way of maintaining the populace. Like that's the whole thing. And it's like, this is how it starts. You know, it starts first, it's vaccines. And then after vaccines, they've got all your information. And then they've got your ID cards. And then they're going to start doing social credit scores. And then once you've got social credit scores, we're basically going to be communist China. And the whole thing has come full circle, you see.
Yes, give me some volume.
In a state where hurricanes often strike,
Look at these two guys.
like Florida or the Gulf Coast or into Texas, a vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated in a hurricane or a natural disaster.
It really sucks because, like, when it came down to it, this pandemic really was going to be that test for humanity. Like, hey, there's a lot of things we're going to have to do. And it actually does come down to the individual in this case. I mean, you can make a change yourself. So for the start, before we have anything even remotely close to a vaccine, here's some protocols that will stop the spread. In essence, we are going to starve this virus out, metaphorically, by not giving it hosts. So, hey, if we social distance, if we do some lockdown measures, if we wear masks, all very lo-fi, but it's all stuff that on the individual level you can do. And half the population was like, nah, fuck that. My freedoms. And they don't want to tell you that it's selfishness, because it is, because no one likes any of this shit. I don't like lockdowns. I don't like being forced to have to wear a mask everywhere. I don't like the fear and panic that's in everyone's eyes. Like, no one likes any of that kind of shit, right? I don't like the idea of hospitals being overrun, though. And I don't like the idea of a whole bunch of old people dying or frontline workers dying, who are disproportionately going to be like Black, Indigenous, Hispanic. Like, there's a purpose behind all of this, and still humanity was like, but masks, they're itchy.
Disaster hits.
Dude, how the hell does that make any sense, though? Okay, so
People
way,
are just stepping in line.
You're
They're stepping in line.
not saying don't take the vaccine. That's not what you're saying.
I think a lot of people should take the vaccine.
Okay, so I got a story for you here from my personal end. My dad
Not a
is
lot of people,
79 years
everybody.
old, okay. Conversation came about the vaccine. He said, "Are you taking it?" I said, "I'm not taking it." I was in the army. In the first day of going into the army, they give you 11 air shots when you go in. Pss, 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 and you just go through it. Literally, you walk
11 shots in one day?
11 shots in one day, back to back to back. And you say, "Don't move. If you move a little bit, you get a scar." I mean, I'll never forget this. I was 18 years old, so I've had plenty of vaccine in myself. It's probably why I'm a little bit off. But so my dad, okay, he says, "Should I get the vaccine?" I said, "Dad, it's up to you. What do you want to do?" This is Pat. I'm 70-some years old. I said, "Dad, if you're 79, do what you want to do." He said, "I want to get the vaccine." He said, "When I got the vaccine." Great. I didn't get the vaccine. I got COVID. So he ends up getting the vaccine, and 2 weeks.
I was like, I hope there's going to be some self-awareness in here. Why do you think the army does that? Because, like, they don't want their soldiers getting sick from a whole host of things. They're going to have better super soldiers if the soldiers are immune to a whole bunch of things, especially if they're traveling. They have to send their soldiers abroad for who knows what horrible thing. Yeah, they probably want them to be healthy. That's why the army does that.
Ago, he just got his negative back from COVID. He got positive, and he got pneumonia. My dad at 79, and he is okay. He's done. He's scored away. He has nothing to worry about today. Would it have been different if he didn't have the vaccine? I don't know. A friend of mine, younger than in my 20 years, in great shape, didn't take the shot. He got vaccine. He got COVID and had pneumonia, was in a hospital for 4 weeks. Literally, he was hospitalized, right?
What is the point of your
I didn't
fucking
take
story?
The vaccine. There's a few reasons why I haven't taken a vaccine yet. It's my own reason why I haven't taken a vaccine yet. But the biggest challenge for me is the conversation of being forced to take the vaccine. So Nicki Minaj, I'm sure you're kind of following the story with what's going on with Nicki Minaj.
Her cousin's testicles.
Her cousin.
Vosh dunked on this guy 5 months ago.
Price of raising the minimum wage for you and the
Billionaire mauls over increasing the minimum wage. What? He's a billionaire who hates the minimum wage? What a douchebag. I didn't take the vaccine. I got COVID. I also got 12 inoculations when I was in the army. No idea what they were doing there. It's weird. Just injected me 12 times. A whole bunch of different things.
Cousin's testicles, yeah, in Trinidad, and people are saying, "Are you kidding me about these testicles?" So whether these testicles are just massive or something happened to them or it was because of the vaccine, let's set that aside with the testicles.
I've never heard of testicles swelling as a side effect.
I've heard of other things, but not because of the vaccine. So, okay, so that's that part. All right, so she goes.
Side effect of COVID, by the way, is erectile dysfunction. It can be in men. So, I mean, there's an added extra reason why, if you actually want to talk about realistic sexual performance and problems therein, you should probably get vaccinated. And again, it does come down to this whole selfish thing. Because like, even if you're like, I have my own personal reasons. I'm young, I'm healthy. I'm not going to get COVID. If I do, it's not going to be too bad. I don't need it. I don't need the vaccine. It's like, okay, fine. Cool, bro. Cool, bro. Like, cool story. You might spread it to other people, though, right? You might have conversations or want to go for dinner or want to go to the club, get your dance on, get your sweat on, get your back rub on. And then when you go through that entire process, you might spread it. So it's going to be better for everyone. It's the same reason kids who have incredibly low mortality rates should be vaccinated, because that way they don't go home and spread it to mom, who then spreads it to grandma, and then grandma dies.
Goes up there and she says, I don't want to take it. On her live, well, Joe, you got to listen to her live. It's so funny because she puts the camera and the camera's at the ceiling. You
And
never
she's just
see her
talking.
face. You're just
Right.
talking. It's alive, right? And she says, let me get this straight, because she put it out on Twitter that I got a call from the White House to go and have a meeting at the White House with the health secretary and what do you call it, with Fauci, right? Meeting with Fauci. And she said, I would like to come, but
Does Joe Rogan ever debate people with a different point of view? He has had people on with different points of view, but he doesn't debate them. He's less of a debater, and I've said this before, more of a Rorschach test, or a mirror, if you will. He reflects the views of the person he's talking to. The exceptions are, of course, the Dave Rubin debate. That one is glorious. It's one of the best thrashings of Dave Rubin, I think, in the modern lexicon. But like otherwise, it's usually like if he has Cornel West on or he has Bernie Sanders on, it's going to be a really good episode. Because he's going to talk about he's going to learn a whole bunch of stuff. He's going to talk about a whole bunch of things. He'll push back a little bit, but it's going to be amazing. And then he has Ben Shapiro on, and he turns into a huge transphobe, and just like that.
I would like it to be live. Instead of me traveling, I'd
Richard
much
Wolf,
rather
and it
not
was
travel. Let's do a
savage?
live.
What?
And I say, yeah, we don't
I
mind
wanna
doing a
watch that.
live. We just don't want it to be recorded. She says, no, I want it to be recorded because I want my audience to see whether this is, so I'm honest with the audience. They said, well, let us think about it. She has her PR rep on it and her agent on the call. So it's not like she's by herself. Then the White House comes back and says, no, we never told you that you're going to be doing this live, right? Because she tweeted us and I got a call from White House. And she says, why can't I have the choice to not do it? Why can I not have the choice? The biggest contradiction for
To
me,
not do the vaccine.
I don't want to take the vaccine. Yes, they're forcing her to do it. And, you heard a couple of the folks from, I don't know what it was when they came out and they said, who was the lady that we were talking about? She says, I got 2 million followers, girl. I'm not.
Again, you guys don't know what the words like forcing and like, it's just this whole thing. Like, you're not being forced. She wants to go to this Met Gala. She wants to go partying. She wants to go to these big events. And these events are, yes, vaccine required.
At your level with 22 million followers on Twitter, you can do better, girl. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for doing this because now people are not taking a vaccine.
Who said that to her?
Who's Joy? What's her name?
Joyanne Reed.
I think that's who it was.
Yeah.
And
By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're wondering why there's so many incredible penises above me and a whole bunch of wonderful bi flags, that's because this was recorded on Bi Day of Visibility. Yes, so be proud, all you wonderful bis, you bees in the alphabet, the wonderful queer alphabet. Rise bees, and peas are welcome too. Peas have a better flag, I'll be honest. The P flag is better than the B flag. Yeah.
so she comes back and she says, just because I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. So why do I have to do it? I may end up doing it because I have to go on tour and I have to do this part. But if you're going to a point, Joe, yourself, where you're talking about 100% this is going to happen in our generation, then I ask you, are you okay with that?
I didn't say 100% it's going to happen. I said 100% it could happen.
Bad Bunny hates us? Wait, Bad Bunny hates people who are bi? Oh, are you talking about old Bad Bunny when she both hated bisexuals and black people simultaneously?
Happen that
Okay,
we
got it.
have a social credit score in this country. The same people that are accepting
Yeah.
a vaccine passport. My position is I do not
Yeah, it's a
believe
really
once the
yikesy clip,
government
Kinky.
has the ability
It's
to
a really
control
yikesy clip.
your movement, what you do, and when you do it. If they can put limitations on your freedom, and that is what it is, that it makes it easier to control people. Once they do that, I do not believe they're going to leave it at a vaccine passport.
I agree with you.
I think they're going to expand it, and
Sure.
I think the next
Oh,
logical
you can
move.
Kinky. You find it on Reddit or Twitter or maybe it's probably even it's on YouTube. But I don't want to play it because like she's done that whole thing where she's like I condemned those beliefs. They were abhorrent. I no longer think this way, kind of stuff. So like I'm not gonna put old clips on here as a
is
gotcha.
some sort of a social credit score. and you'll look at a bunch of things. Have you paid your taxes? Are you in debt? Do you owe money on your credit cards? Are you in default of loans? Have you been vaccinated?
Why do capitalists hate social credit scores but love economic credit scores? Well, I think that the answer is self-evident there.
Have you voted? And all those things.
And who you voted for.
Well, that would be problematic, but all those things could be designed into a social credit program.
Yeah.
Where you could see in a person who has poor social credit, a person who's been to jail.
This is like 100% the slippery slope fallacy. And guess what? This pandemic and all the shit you hate about it would be over if everyone just like got on board with the plan and helped each other out. And that starts not even from this kind of scary stuff like vaccines and vaccine passports, but just the mask wearing and the like the social distancing, all the measures that they were like, well, the scientists were saying, hey, by the way, this will slow the spread. And like in places where they did that, it was very effective. You know, look at like New Zealand. They isolated almost completely. They've done very good contact tracing. Like there's a lot of different countries and examples of this. And then all of a sudden you've got like Joe Rogan who's still like, well, this is the beginning, right? They start with the vaccine passport, but they can put all kinds of information in there. Soon they'll be finding who you voted for. They'll ask what kind of sports teams you like, what kind of porn you're into. You know, are you into MILF porn? I mean, there will be certain restaurants you can't get into if you've got MILF porn on your social credit score. And that's just like, what does that really say for me, right? Like, what do I do? I mean, I don't want to be kicked out for these reasons.
For, you know, armed robbery, a person who owes taxes, that person would have a lower credit score and they wouldn't be allowed into certain buildings.
Why is this a bad thing?
It's because it's control. It's having the ability to tell people what they can and can't do. Having the government, if you're a free person, you've made mistakes or you're trying to do better in your life, but you've had some horrible scenarios in your past. You're supposed to be free to try to navigate and do better in your life. If you're restricted and very clearly restricted by a set of parameters that's decided by other people that doesn't have to do with the law.
You know what's so fucked up is that this is all very frightening and scary to them because it's the government, the big bad government. But at the end of the day, you give all this shit for free to companies, to private corporations who sell it to other companies for profit. Like, Google knows so much about you. Facebook knows so much about you. All these different things, these patterns, and that, okay, fine, it's going to be anonymized when it's sold to like, you know, database centers for Steve Bannon's utility. But still, like, you're giving this shit away for free on a regular basis to private companies who turn it around for profit.
Like, it's not like you need to be locked up because you're a criminal. You have a social credit score like they're implementing in China. What it does is it keeps people scared and it keeps people in line. And it's a fantastic way to control the population. And that's what it's used for.
Should we do something about it?
I think talking about it is a good thing. I think talking about it like we're talking about allowing people to recognize. ...
What was the next? Should we do something about it, bro? What are we going to do about this, huh? I mean, hey, look to Australia. The people you got nice and afraid about this whole issue. Yeah, they're attacking cops on the street. In Canada, it's the anti-maskers who are throwing like rocks at the Prime Minister. People are getting quite galvanized by you talking about this in the way you have been.
That this is something that could potentially happen.
You think there's a next step?
The vaccine passport just 6 months ago was conspiracy.
Is this going to bring about a whole bunch of class consciousness or a whole bunch of good people going to be like, wait, I understand it now. It's almost like we have this economic system, see? And that in this economic system, the only way to truly generate a lot of profit is by exploiting workers. So people who have done that and exploited the most workers generate the most profit. And then we have these things called the state. And the state has power to enforce the will of the state upon the people that are in there, and yet those who have the most capital have the most power because they can influence the state through the form of lobbying and other political incentives and other forms as well. And it's almost as if we need like is that click going to happen at some point? It's being facetious, obviously.
Conspiracy theory nonsense. Like people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're not going to have a vaccine passport. No one was accepting the fact that this was real. This is stuff that Alex Jones talked about. But now it's a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead, it's going to be nope. It's the globalists and the deep state, and of course, everyone's favorite scapegoat throughout history, the Jews. Yes, it's their fault as well. Yes, Soros is doing it again.
Hey, do you like movies? Do you like Serfs?
Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs the cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, may you shower us mortals with gifts from the heaven. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are your humble jesters, clowning around for your amusement. To our lord, Trevor R. and Alexander Thaler, we give you our thanks for this meager land for us to toil our seed. To our knights of the Round Table, Hagbard Sealine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariana McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Ants Are Still Running the World, Coulter Smith, Tom Groh, Val 9000, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren 42, Chronic de Hemphog, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our glasses and we salute you, our comrades.